RFK Jr. puts facilitated communication users on the HHS Autism panel. By Stuart Vyse from Skeptical Inquirer's online column Behavior and Belief at skepticalinquirer.org. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. can now add support for discredited methods of communication to his list of anti-science accomplishments as Secretary of Health and Human Services. On January 28, 2026, the HHS announced the appointment of 19 new members of the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee, IACC, a federal advisory committee that coordinates federal efforts and provides advice to the Secretary of Health and Human Services on issues related to autism spectrum disorder, ASD. As expected, several of the new members have campaigned against childhood vaccination and in favor of unsupported treatments for autism. But now users of facilitated communication, FC, a discredited form of communication, sit on the country's highest autism advisory panel. Two new members of the IACC, Caden Larson and Elizabeth Bonker, are non-speaking adults with autism who use, or more accurately, are subjected to, spelling to communicate, a variant of FC that is opposed by the American Speech-Language Hearing Association and many other professional and advocacy organizations. Spelling to communicate, S2C, involves a non-speaking person pointing to a letterboard, stencil, keyboard, or iPad that is held in the air by a communication partner, often a parent or teacher, see the photo above. Because the technique involves a second person and the target letterboard, stencil, keyboard, or iPad is floating in the air, it is unclear which person is controlling the output. Supporters of these techniques have never given a plausible justification for not simply placing the letterboard, keyboard, or iPad on a table or easel so that the non-speaking person can type independently. More importantly, the advocates for S2C have refused to participate in the simple forms of testing that would clearly establish who is communicating, undoubtedly because the promise of this technique is too great to threaten. S2C users believe that the non-speaking individual's deficits are not cognitive but merely physical. They have intact minds but broken bodies that prevent them from getting their words out. The belief is that communication partners can help these individuals unlock their thoughts with the help of a floating letterboard. Unfortunately, all the controlled tests of these methods have shown that it is the communication partner who is controlling the letters being typed out, not the non-speaking person with autism. The letterboard works like a Ouija board. For additional information about FC and S2C, visit facilitatedcommunication.org or the Facilitated Communication Wikipedia page. Elizabeth Bonker gained international fame when, with the help of a communication partner, she graduated from Rollins College in Winter Park, Florida, and in May 2022, gave the valedictory speech at the commencement ceremony. Of course, Bonker is non-speaking, so the speech was written in advance and presented by a computer text-to-speech device as she stood silently at the podium. Caden Larson is a young man who also uses S2C and is listed on the boards of a number of organizations that promote the technique. Both Larson and Bonker were featured in the documentary film Spellers, which presents S2C as a miraculous breakthrough. Finally, Crystal Higgins is another newly appointed member of the IACC panel. She is Executive Director of the National Autism Association, yet another group that promotes spelling to communicate, and is described on the HHS website as a Certified Spelling to Communicate S2C practitioner. Professionals and advocates who have not fallen prey to these discredited techniques argue that people with severe autism have real needs and that FC and S2C offer false hope and are a distraction from those needs. Now, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has officially endorsed these pseudoscientific techniques. Under the best circumstances, we would hope the nation's highest autism advisory panel would be advocating for the best science available. But with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in charge, there is very little science on the IACC. Thank you for listening to Skeptical Inquirer Audio Edition. This podcast is produced by the Center for Inquiry at our headquarters in Amherst, New York. If you would like to support our work, please consider subscribing to Skeptical Inquirer magazine at skepticalinquirer.org. It is listeners like you that make our work possible. With your support, we can continue to promote science, reason, and secular values throughout the world. Thank you.